So, welcome to the Career Journeys Real World Real Insight. And today we are thrilled to have Myrose Jayesh Sawant with us. Myrose is an accomplished educator with a rich academic background, holding a bachelor's degree in education, master's in history, and bachelor's in arts from Mumbai University. A former district level hockey and football player, she brings a dynamic blend of sportsmanship and scholarships. With extensive experience as an IB PYP teacher at Podar International School, she is dedicated to innovative curriculum planning and nurturing young minds. Your commitment to education and history is truly inspiring. And with this, we welcome you to the sessions.
Thank you, Sachi. Hello, everyone. And I'm more than happy to be on this platform. And I'm really thankful to Sachi for welcoming me to speak on this most crucial aspect of education. Indeed, education is a steering point at this juncture where I think millions of us, we start our life with education. At year 3, we start our journey with education, and it has years and miles to travel. Okay. Now, how you foresee and how you go through is all upon the individual. So I'm glad over here to give you my experiences, to share my insights, and hope my insights would be valuable to you to take up this career in future.
Right. So all the students generally are from grade 9 to 10th, 9 to 12th, and they graduates, undergraduates, postgraduates, parents, and also working professionals, right?
Yeah.
All of us want to have a career in life. And we start somewhere from grade 8th and 9th, where we start selecting subjects, and then the journey starts thereafter. So some are fortunate to find out what is best for them. Some discover during the course of journey. So that's the reason we have been conducting these podcasts to let students understand what is the real path. It's never a straight line. It's like jalebi, we call it in Hindi. So from you, we want to know that when you were a student, so what subjects you were liking and how did you choose the field of teaching? How did it all turn out to becoming into an educator?
Okay. So my schooling started from the basic education. Like we all go from the state board. That time we never had any career. Okay, we never had any branches. So it was a state SSC board. So I finished my schooling from there. Then I went out because I was a sports person from school itself. So I joined Guru Nanak Khalsa College, which was then very well known for sports. Okay, it was one of the top colleges for sports. So my keen inclination was over there. I did not fill any other form. I was only sports oriented. So I filled only one form after my 10th and I knew I'm sure going to get over there. So I joined Khalsa College. And from my schooling, I was not so inclined for science or commerce. I knew I want to take arts. So I had made up my mind for arts because it was a sports background. It was easy for me to, blend the academics as well as the sports. So I joined GN Khalsa College, which is in Matunga, a very good college renowned college for sports. And I got into there because my percentages were also high. So it was easy for me to get through that college. So that was my 11th and 12th. I was totally dedicated to sports as well as also my academics. So being in arts, my subjects were English, sociology, logic, economics, and history. Okay, that time we never had to master or we never had to take something in major. We had to comply with all the other subjects because it was yet under the state board. That is HSC, the higher secondary state board. So that is when I finished my 11th and 12th. But after 12th, I took history. History was my major subject in my SY and my TY, first year BA, second year BA, and the third year BA. It was history. So I took up history as my major subject because that fascinated me a lot. And more than that, sociology was also there, economics was there, but out of all of them, I gave preference to history because somewhere I liked it, I really liked it. Okay, so that was my major journey. So from my TYBA, and the major turning point happened when I was in the 15th class, that is the TYBA. From our colleges, the college had launched the historian workshop, which was conducted in St. Xavier's College, that is in Dhobi Talab, if you will be knowing. So students from all across the country or all across the adjoining colleges, they came over there. So that is when I got the first exposure of all the other students, talking to them, sharing ideas, knowing what's happening. And we were all on the platform. We were called historians. So there we were trained how to be a historian. Okay, be a historian of a different perspective, not just reading the books, what we see, what we read over here, the general thing, but a different angle of historian that we were. So we were asked to, study the sculptures, study the paintings, study the monuments, study different aspects of history, and carve out your own historical description for it. So the somewhere it started, I started liking all that because it was somewhere delving me into the past, knowing what glorious history was there, knowing the struggles over there. Although I know for many of them, history would be a boring subject, okay, studying it, but it wasn't in my case because when you actually deal with real history and you touch real monuments, and you will also know there are many stories that these tales have to yet tell you many things that are still uncovered. So that was what I strongly started feeling, strongly had a deep inclination. Then I started loving archaeology. Okay, I started loving archaeology. That is again a branch. So I used to love to, dig up and find and feel those substances. Okay, it used to take me into those times when how those people used to live and feel. And, they had their own setup of life. So all that was there. Archaeology. And I wanted to pursue my future or my career in archaeology. But again, that the good college for archaeology was in Deccan, that is in Pune. But again, due to parental pressure, they wouldn't allow me to travel because they were of this traditional mindset. In those times, even travel and lodging and boarding was not that so free, not that so freely accessible. And they were a little jittery, so they did not allow me. So then I gave up my mind over there also. Okay, then what next? But still, the love for history did not go. Okay, and I also had many friends, and I developed I had back one behind the other. I had many historian certificate that I have got on archaeology and deciphering history and writing history. Now, for more than reading history, I started becoming a writer in history. I loved writing books. I loved writing articles in history. So that was my journey for the start of an historian. The You can say the stepping stone for me to be a student and to a teacher arose when in that historian workshop every year we used to have it. Okay, they had conducted a seminar and I was allotted a student to guide. I was allotted a student to guide and mentor. So that was my turning point as a teacher. Okay, I never knew how to teach, but just taking up that one or two student besides me, explaining things to them, helping them out, okay, answering their question, that is how I became a teacher. The teacher was born in me. Okay, and I really enjoyed the task because the way the exchange of ideas, exchange of thoughts, okay, the discussions that we had, and it gave me the confidence that I can also explain things to others, okay, make things simpler to them and in such a way that they can get it all right. So that is where I understood that I can do this job. And then I decided that I'm not going to be anything else, but I'm going to be a teacher. So after my TY, yes, I been a teacher. Then I also proceeded to do my further post graduation because I didn't want. I wanted to study. That greed of getting degrees was always there in me. I loved getting degrees. My ultimate goal was actually to get a PhD, but however, I could not accomplish it because of too many responsibilities. So I did my master's. My master's was again in history. I did my master's, complete 8 papers in history. And I somewhere wanted that PhD. But in those times, the condition to get a PhD is securing a certain percentile. So you had to get 55 plus. 55 was a first class. 55 was a first class that time. So I studied hard and I was lucky I got a 60%. 60 means a very good percentage. Okay. In master, it's a very good percentage because it only it demands that the paper demands a lot of writing and subjective and a lot of things. So I managed to get a 60% and I was over the cloud because now I felt my hurdles to achieve my PhD was now over. Then I pursued a B.Ed. B.Ed, that is your certification to be a teacher. Okay. So I pursued my B.Ed. Before that, you have to clear the eligibility test. Okay. That's for the TET, Teacher Eligibility Test. That's online. That is compulsory for all the aspiring to be teachers. So once you clear that eligibility test, it's online. Then you get the certificate. Only then you can enroll yourself into teaching colleges. So once that was done, I got myself into teaching college. I studied B.Ed. I cleared my B.Ed from St. Teresa's Institute, that is in Santa Cruz. And it was a 1 year course, a 1 year rigorous course. Okay, so you have your assignments, you have your homeworks, you have everything. It's a 1 year rigorous course, and you are trained to be a teacher. More than trained, you are certified to be a teacher. So now you can go ahead and pursue your teaching career.
That's a very beautiful journey. Just bringing few insights for the students and parents watching this video. There are various levels of certification courses required for teaching levels at the primary level, at the TGT level, at the senior secondary level, and the teaching certificate TET is valid for 7 years, and now B.Ed is for 2 years. Initially, it used to be for 1 year. Now it's compulsory for 2 years, along with internships at each year available.
Correct.
Thank you, Myrose. And with this, we get a couple of questions, starting with the first one. When you left your sports and went into teaching, do you still feel you could have been a sports player and gone to a national level, international level?
Yes, I could have. Yes, that was the major thing that kept me always, like something that I wanted to do, but I did not do it. I would have pursued, but again, that is a different responsibility. Okay, the conditions for there was completely different. It was a full-time thing. When you want to aspire into sports, it's a full-time thing that you have to devote to. But I was somewhere, in a, you can say, not a confused state, but somewhere I also wanted to make my career. I also wanted to make my career. I also wanted to teach and earn money. That is also there. Okay, so that is a major thing which helped me to just retreat from sports and focus on my another career, which also I loved.
You were at the same level where many students are right now, and they are confused. They
Mm.
want to play sports, but they also want to earn money. The same thing which you said. So, what advice do you have for these aspirants who want to be a sports player, but then money is also a factor?
You have to drive by your passion. Okay, you have to drive by your passion. You see where your inclination is the most, and then you follow it. You just follow. I wouldn't say you don't, just leave a passion and come to earn money. No, you see which, if you can balance both, well and good. Okay, because I have seen many people who love sports, so they have been sports masters, they have been sports coaches, they have been earning in sports. So you can also try to do that.
Right. So, taking up sports extended branches in addition to being a player, but in case if they want to be a player, they have to be the best.
They have to be the best, and it's a full-time job. It's like a job.
Right. So, thank you for that sharing. You were also interested in pursuing as an archaeologist, and you were deeply passionate, and the real
And still,
academician, yeah,
yes,
you are deeply passionate, and your real academician came out when you were doing masters, and that name was given to you as historians.
yeah.
Is that spark missing in students when they study nowadays?
What happens to students fear, they feel history is something very boring, it's
Hmm.
boring. Why should we read the stories and what we got to do with the lives of the kings and the queens and everything like that? It's not like that. But if you look at history from a different angle, okay, the things that have occurred in the past are still happening now. You just have to have that vision to see it's still happening now. It's happening in a different level, in a different context, but it is still happening now. It's a famous saying, no, history always repeats itself. It's not just not said for the while. Until you are vigilant, until you know why things have happened, why the present state of whatever we are living in, okay, the political social conditions have deeply been impacted by what our past was. So this is very important, to make an analogy between the past and the present. That is what history teaches you.
Can you share some tips how students can understand history better? Because even I was very weak in history. I got the lowest marks in history. I could never remember the dates and the names. So, can you suggest
Remembering
students?
the dates, I know it is difficult because you just have to mugging up. Once you mug up, you will never remember. Okay. But if you remember in a form of a story, if you remember in a form of an incident that has touched you, it's like you time travel. If you put yourself into that time and you travel along over there, then things are clear to you.
So it
Otherwise,
needs.
mugging up history with all those dates and the years and those complex names are very difficult.
Thank you for sharing. So students can remember history as a story. Maybe they can teach
Just
each
remember it,
other.
yeah. Remember
Yeah.
it as a story. Develop the love for it. It's just like a story. You know, जो नानी माँ के stories होते थे in the past. You remember everything. It's just like a story, of course, but it's a real story. A story that has happened. Everything that has really happened in the past.
And maybe they need to repeat these stories to fellow batchmates so that they can remember the incidences.
They can also remember the incidents. Also, they have to be upkeeping with what's happening around the current affairs. You know what's happening in and around. It's nothing. It's all the repeat of history. Okay, if you see what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Russia, what's happening, it's the same thing. What has happened years ago, it's the same thing, nothing else. Only if you're vigilant enough, you will know, hey, nothing great has happened. Even our social economic structure over here, the social background over here, what is it? So until and unless you are more vigilant, until and unless you are more well read about what has happened, only then you can make connection. Otherwise, what happens if you are not that well-read person or you're not that knowledgeable, you can get carried away by many other forces that can mislead you. That is what happens.
So you have a teaching experience and you have been teaching history also along with the other areas. So what are the areas you feel students struggle a lot when it comes to academics?
Areas of struggle, I think you mean to say subjects?
Yeah, subjects also and their skills also. Why do students struggle so much in academic? How they are
Because
completely into just focusing on marks and
hmm,
academics.
hmm, hmm.
They're not into developing other life
Other
skills.
lives. And because you know what happens, the scenario today is more of competitive. Okay, competitive, and there's pressure from parents, pressure from peers, pressure from the school, pressure from the coaching classes, and poor child over there is crushed. Okay, so over here it's more of marks oriented. If a particular marks that is designed, then the child is branded as intelligent or not so intelligent. Okay, so that creates that fear and that pressure. So that is the major setback I feel. But if the child, if you pursue what you want according to your skills, see, everyone is very different. Okay, Howard Gardner said there are 9 multiple intelligence. Everyone is blessed with 9 multiple intelligence. All we have to do is understand where are we keen into. Some may be bodily kinesthetic, some may be logical, some may be spatial, some may be visual, some may be very good in language, some may be very good in math. Right? But in our school, what happened is a very traditional driven school, where the skills are not touched upon. So once your skills, your skills, you know your values, you know what good and best you are, I think you can beat everything. So, but I understand the plight of today's children. It's sad because that's I said no, they are being compressed in the so-called scenario or the circumstances created not by them, by the other forces and the environment.
Right. So according to you, if they are able to identify the skills they are good at,
Yes,
then they
they
can.
and along with their parents, they and also their parents. The parents play a very crucial role over here. Okay, knowing. See, sometimes what happened, I just have an example of my child. His parents are into business, okay? Very well off, good business. So they want the child to pursue business only. But the child is not interested in business. He loves space and he knows everything about space. Okay, and he just wants to be a space person, a person to work on astronaut or something to do with space, and he is least bothered about business. So that is when the mother told me, like, ma'am, I'm fixed in but between both because the father wants him to pursue the family business. They don't want to lose over it, and the child wants to do space. So I do not know what to do. So that is what I told her that, let him pursue what he wants to do. Let him do both. Let him do both. Okay. There's no harm that if you have to do a particular family business, so you need to give up your passion. No, it's not like that. Maybe he'll excel in this. All you forced him to do something else and he has never excelled. And one point of time he has given up and he is broken hearted and that may be too late. So that was my suggestion. You want to excel? Do both and see where you get where you're successful.
Right. So understanding between the parent and the child, a clear
Very important.
communication is needed.
Yes, more of understanding. It should be a very mutual understanding between them. Okay, because what happens to parents, they try to fulfill their dreams through their children. Okay, they could not achieve, so my child will achieve. It's not that. The child also has its own dream. The child also has his own passion. And with today's exposure to internet and the world around, I'm sure they have their own way of doing things. So parents over here and teachers over here can act as mentors, facilitators, guide. Okay, if they are going off track, if they are going following the wrong track, just to bring them on track, but not force things on them. I don't think it will work in the longer end.
Exactly, well said. With this, we have something what is the right age when a student should start discovering the skills inside them? Is there something like they should wait for a particular slab, a grade or a age?
Usually in schools, they conduct, I think in ninth and 10th, they do conduct the aptitude test.
Hmm.
That's the aptitude test where they come to know the reasoning level, the logical level of the child, and they advise him. They advise so which branch in colleges they should go further. But again, that is again the aptitude. More or less, it is the child who himself knows what skill, what he loves to do. So the child will not know the skill, but what he loves to do, he's passionate in fact. That is the best thing. Even the parent, because from the beginning, from the childhood, it is a parent who is observing the child. See, he may be doing something at home, which you think, okay, he's just doing some time pass or something to do. But no, he may be inclined to something that will give him bigger returns when he is a big child. Like
So,
I'll give you my example, my younger son, okay, right from small age, right from when he was small, he is very good in computers, okay. And that time during COVID time, so we everyone switched to the internet and it was an online schooling. So that time he used to make wonderful PowerPoint. He was just in grade 2 and it used to surprise me, like why he's making. I never taught him only with the play of buttons. He learned it by himself. Then another thing what I noticed into him, that he used to join gadgets, those wires, and he used to light the bulb. Small boy, a small child. So I just, and he used to sit hours on it, hours and hours on it. So I used to we used to just observe myself by this child. And if you go to see, he was not that inclined to studies. Even today, he is not that inclined to studies. But today, if you tell him to do practical job of some wiring, he will know everything. He will know the science behind it. He'll logically tell you why this is lighted, why is that so, why is the wire connected, and he will know everything complex which is beyond his books. So that is what I'm trying to say. So parents have to find out, they have to see, they have to talk to them, they have to watch their children minutely as to what they are doing. That is how you come to know that is the key for what they want.
so a very keen observation between what the child is doing and allowing him to continue doing without interrupting.
Yes, without interrupting, but yeah, again in a healthy way. If you feel they're going in a off track or something that is not appropriate, you're
Hmm.
always here to stop them.
Right. And then that needs to be proceeded for a longer period to understand the reality, whether they are actually interested or it is superficial.
Correct, correct. Very
A
nice.
very nice sharing, and I hope all the students and parents who are listening to this will start observing their students, children now, if they
Just
have not
observe.
been
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
Yes.
And this
Yeah.
observation, they can carry it on when they do the aptitude test, and then they can cross check whether it's really matches or not.
It really matches around whether they want to do. Then have a talk with them. You have a talk with them what they like to do. Really, they like to pursue what they want to do. See, because now if you ask a ninth and a 10th grader, what you want to become in life, I think they're not clear about it. Most of them will not be clear of it because there are so many avenues open. They are so confused. They don't know. Okay, all they know that they are learning for something, and within 5 years things change. The demand of something would be gone. Like when I was in school, that time software engineering, computers was in great demand. But by the time I finished my college and I finished my MA, that was nowhere there. It was out. So when you're yearning to do something, when you're working, see to it that it is there. Otherwise, things are changing rapidly so fast. So sticking on to something also will not make a bigger effect on them.
Wonderful sharing, Marus. You have been a teacher for more than 17 years. And with your teaching experience, would you like to share what is it that students need the most from the counselors when they go to counseling, especially career counseling?
Yes. See, I've been a teacher and I'm very happy to be a teacher of an IB school. Okay, so it's a different school altogether. The curriculum, the setup, the values, the ideology is completely different. Okay, in this school, in IB schools, mostly unlike the state board schools or something, here encouragement to child's thoughts, child's thinking, child voicing out his opinion, whether it's right or wrong, that doesn't matter. We are not judgmental over there. But the major focus is developing the cognitive thinking of the child, because once that is developed, it's like asking him why. He should be trained to ask why. When he reasons out, when he tries to ask the question why, that is when he is open. When he is opening, that is the inhibitions, the self-confidence, the self-value in him that rises to a greater power. Okay, so being in this IB school for a long 17 years has been a wonderful experience for me as a teacher, and also to see batches and batches of students going out from the school, grooming, becoming well-established individuals in the years to come. And career guidance, yes, of course, they will need career guidance, as I said, because there are so many things to influence them in the outside world, so many things that are attractive to them in the outside world. But a career guidance and a career guide can give them the path on which they can go. But yes, of course, the efforts are theirs.
So a career guide can help them to draw a path for them. But before that, students need to identify what career they want to do.
Identify their career, identify their niche, what they want to do it. And there always will find people to help them.
Do students stick to the advice given by the counselors or do deviate later on?
Mostly they do, but then again, I said, no, they are carried on by many other things that come across. Mostly parental pressure, mostly family businesses, mostly what goes around, mostly peers. Okay, they are very well, they go along with what their peers do. So they do stick, that is only a light for them, but ultimately they do what they feel like doing.
So parental peer pressure, then family preferences, businesses, and their peer pressure. Three
And
are
their
the main factors.
main factors, yeah.
According to you, based on your experience, how can we help them to stay on the track?
Constant motivation, constant guidance, okay, constantly not to be behind them, but at least be watchful of what they are doing. That would help them to a great extent. Okay, so whenever they need, we should be there. Whenever they want any help, we should be there. Whenever they stumble, they are looking here and there, we should be there. So that is our role as a teacher, that is our role as a parent. See, for children of today's generation, you cannot compress them more. Okay, you compress them, they will revolt. So even if you tell them something for their good, they will do the opposite. So that is you have to understand their psychology also, because now children of today's world are too bold. They can go to any extent with so many, cases seeing going around. So let's not pressurize them, but just be as a guidance behind them, as a support, as a pillar behind them. So they know that anytime they're going wrong, they fall. The parents are there and the teachers are there and their mentors are there.
It's like a torch in the sea ocean, right?
Always, always a guiding torch. So in the middle of the
Mm.
ocean, you have that the lighthouse, like
Yeah,
beacon them, the sailors, so they know they are not lost even in the ocean. There is somewhere there they can always come back to.
right. So allowing them to swim, but if they want to some light, there are people around them and they can approach them.
And that can only be done by their own people, their own parents, their own brothers, sisters, and their family, and also the teachers to a great extent, and mainly have faith in them. Okay, have faith in what they are doing. So if you have faith, no, so they also go by that faith. They know, they become more responsible because my parents have put faith in me, my teachers have faith in me. So they also act responsibly and they start behaving and they start encouraging themselves in that same manner.
And that faith develops by clear mutual communication.
Mutual communication. Always keep communications very clear. Very clear. Even if you don't like something your child is doing, tell them freely.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. So, Myrose, you have been into IB, PYP education in Potar International School. And most of the institutes we have are either from ICSC, CBSE, or state board. So, would you like to share how is IB education different from the other ones?
Yes. See, as I told you that IB education is more on the overall development of the child. It is not marks oriented, okay? It has a different curriculum. It has a different facet of looking at the development on each and every child. It is an all-inclusive school. It's an all-inclusive curriculum where it includes children from all backgrounds. So whether you're clever or not clever, that doesn't matter. It is how, as an individual, you develop with a holistic development. That is what IB teaches. IB is mostly catering to the development of the thinking. Every child has a valuable thinking. And only if you are able to harness that thinking, that child can reach to great extents in their life. Okay. So that is what IB is thinking. Don't be judgmental. Like also when we correct the answer scripts and all, everyone's answers are different, and all these answers are valued. We teachers don't become judgmental in that, okay, this is right, this is wrong. No, over here we gauge through these answers, you gauge thinking, the thought processes that goes on in the child's mind. This is how IB is a beautiful curriculum, because it is like every student is valuable, every student is more important, and every student needs to be developed in the way that they are. Okay, you don't change an individual, but whatever he is, you make the best out of him.
In Indian education, in ICSE, CBSE, state board, we have grades 1 to 10 and then 11th and 12th. But IB has a different nomenclature.
Yes.
Would you
Yeah.
like to share that with us?
In IB, yeah, we don't have the marking system. We don't mark because somewhere we feel that the grades, the numbers will put them down. Okay, we'll just take them in that cocoon that they would go, which we don't want them. So IB has it's a transdisciplinary approach. Okay, so where you cater to one particular theme, but you teach them different aspects. You teach them science, you teach them maths, you teach them geography, all connected to the real world, what's happening in and around them. And children over here are, provoked. Children over here are encouraged to take action. Action in the real world. Action how it is supposed to be. Action how they are perceiving. And moreover, in IB, we also not give out anything. We let the child research. We let the child inquire. So we develop inquiring mind in the child. So rather than giving from the textbook, see, there is no textbook in IB. We don't have a textbook. It is where the child is open to discover the way he feels like, the way he is right. And then we are teachers as facilitators to help them what is right and what is wrong and to carve their path on. That is the major beautiful part of the IB education. And IB is an all-inclusive. IB is, you can also incorporate your state level learnings, your curriculum along with them. IB will never tell you that, okay, this is our set pattern. You only have to follow this. No, no, no.
So, do you want to share something more about the different levels which our Indian IB curriculum has?
Yes, so IB, some IB schools are totally IB, that is the International Baccalaureate. Okay, so it's a total functioning schools, but some schools also adopt to curriculum. So they have IB also and they have Cambridge also. So mostly the levels IB PYP, that is primary year program, runs from grade 1 to grade 5. And then you have MYP, that is the middle year program, that is from 6 to 7. Then from 6 to 7, you have the IGCSE curriculum, that is the Cambridge curriculum, 7, 8. And then A levels, then you have the A levels, and 10th and 12th you have the IBDP. So after your 10th and 12th, it's also possible for you to get absorbed in the Indian colleges. So there is no special norms on that. It's the equivalent thing.
Right. So with this, students will be able to understand what is the IB curriculum, what is the Cambridge curriculum, and if they want to switch from IB to Indian CBSE, ICSE, maybe preparing
They
for
do. They
entrance
do.
exams. So it
Yes.
will be easy for them.
It's easy. There are no entrance exams as such. It's easy. You can get admissions into it.
Right. So that was a beautiful sharing, Maros. Thank you for sharing. You have recently conducted a session for 400 students. Would you like to share your experiences for the same?
Okay, now that was a part of our coaching where we actually initiated, we were encouraging youngsters to take up business ideas. So that was our major program where we were looking at youngsters going more into business rather than taking up any job. So business is where you're your own boss. Okay, you learn to take responsibility. You are a full timer. You become more oriented rather than working for someone else. You become something that you work for your own self and create an empire for yourself. So that is where we conducted a small seminar. And also recently we had an expo, the Teen Business Expo, where teenagers, very surprising and very good to see teenagers from the year of 11 to 19, how well they presented their business idea with all the market logistics and everything and promoted, and also said that how is their business going to thrive in the future. So that is what, as a coach, also I am looking into, creating a business mindset amongst the youngsters, which is very more important.
Do these students have a particular personality or skills? Like, how come they are so motivated?
It's the motivation actually given by the guide and the facilitator, and then you just have to, pick up the, it's like a spark that you see in the child. The moment they have that spark in them, you just pick them up, and it's not there initially they may feel okay, they can't do it, they cannot face the audience, but it is you as a guide, as a role model, to push them, and the moment put them in front of the audience. So once they have that confidence, so they know they are there.
Right. So maybe this spark was identified by their parents or maybe siblings or
Yes, and
relatives
then
or
yeah,
teachers.
and teachers, and then we are always there to help them.
Right. So conducting this event at such a large scale, do you
Mhm.
see any similarities between the students these days? Any hurdles, challenges they face?
Challenges, as I told you, they are only confused with what they want to do. Rest, children of today are actually quite set with everything what they want. They know very well what they want. Only they need some support and help.
Right.
And yes, they may be, you see, in ninth and then it does happen because of so much of academic pressure. Percentages play a very important role rather than any other thing at that point of time. So for them, it's right. It's fine. They can take up the pressure, but they also know the future is much brighter ahead.
Right. Do students are academically well equipped nowadays compared to the earlier, based on your experience of 17 years?
Yeah. Academically well equipped, I would say yes, because you have the internet as a major tool for you. Okay. When we were there, we never had the computers, we never had a laptop. We had not seen that anything was not there. So we only relied on coaching classes and the books and the notes that they had given us. So we relied on that and the 21 series and the guides, and we studied and we passed out from them. But today, I think they have the whole world at the click of the button. You don't, you even you know more than your teachers. I know that. So you just don't understand anything. There are teachers, there are mentors, there are n number of coaching classes that are open, and also there is a web. You have all resources at your footstep. At the click of the button, you get everything.
So are these resources helping them to become more knowledgeable or more distracted students?
It's how they take it. It's how they take it. Okay. So if you want to do it for your betterment, it is definitely helpful. But rather than if you want to cheat it out, so then it's a boon or a bane, technology. How you take it, how you use it is for your best use.
Towards the end, last few questions. You have also studied sociology and you wanted to be an archaeologist. So, would you help us, the students, understand if someone wants to enter into the field of archaeology? What is the best route for them? What preparation they should do from being from a student, also the graduates and also the postgraduates? Anyone who is listening to this, they can understand how they can become an archaeologist.
You see, to become an archaeologist, first and foremost, there is no specific thing. There is only the college. There are some allied colleges that support. That's what I told you. The Deccan College in Pune is a college for archaeologists. They actually train, they mentor, you can say they create archaeologists. They will train you for the entire thing. So one has to visit over there, or you can get the online information of how you can go about the entire process over there. And then you can pursue your career in archaeology.
What are the other career options available for the student from history background?
From history background, of course, you can be a journalist, you can be a professor, you can be a teacher. You can be not particularly history background, but particularly from the field of arts. Okay, if you see, there are wider avenues open for an art background student rather than a commerce or a science background. So from an arts background, you can become a journalist, a sociologist, a thinker, a philosopher, whatever you want, you can be. But yes, once you take up arts, okay, now what happens, it so happens that, students sometimes they take up science and they feel they cannot cope up with. So they just jump over it and take up commerce. Similarly, a commerce student can take up arts. But once you take up arts, you cannot go on the next level. It's so.
So students from science can come down to
Can come to
commerce.
commerce or arts, but from arts you cannot go to commerce or science.
Right. So it's a down ladder.
It's
Up
a
is
down
not
ladder.
possible.
Yeah.
Right. Anything you want to share for the careers related to sociology field, because that was also one of your subjects?
Sociology is nothing but the study of society and how the functions and the present societal conditions they work. So again, it's a course that is exclusively there in all the colleges. Most of the colleges have, and if you are still trying to pursue, if you don't have any colleges, so you can always go through the Mumbai University. There are online sections also, plus there are distance education, and there are also you can say main teaching sections in their university, so that you can go ahead with them.
Right. So students can do the basic research and
Yes.
then find out the courses
Nowadays, also
relevant.
Mumbai University has launched an online portal where you can get access to everything. You don't even have to go over there sitting in any corner. You can just access, you can download the admission kit, you can pay the fees, and you can get your study material and you can go on.
Right. So that's a facility, a technology available for the
Yes.
students to study from any part of
Any
the.
part of, yes, any part of the
Right.
state or the country, you can go ahead with it.
Right. So before we end the session, what three golden pieces of advice you have for the students based on your experience, based on your experience as a teacher, as a historian, as an archaeologist, and also as a sports person?
So I'm everything altogether. Okay. So that is how, your journey, your 18 years of journey makes you experience and enriched in so many things that you have seen different facets of life. So my golden, the last advice for the children is pursue what you feel like, is pursue your passion and do it till the fullest. Don't just give up in midway and say, I cannot do it. It doesn't happen. It will happen. It will happen. You just have to die hard and try your best out. It will happen and it has to happen. It is that. And I am so happy to being in the teaching field because I feel that teaching is the only career that will create, teaching is the only profession that creates all other profession. So
Exactly.
yes. So from a teacher, that's what I'm saying. My students have been doctors, they have been aeronautical engineers, they are cardiologists, they are bankers, they are investors, they are lawyers. So I'm so happy that I, being a teacher, I have created so many other professions.
And actually, you are living those careers.
I am also living.
Right.
Yes.
So it was a great sharing from you, Myrose, and thank you for being on our podcast and sharing your career journey with the students.
Thank you, Sachi. I had a good time talking to you. I'm sure most of you those are listening must have a valuable insight from what I'm telling you.
Thank you.